the international. So Mati, okay, is that good?
Yeah.
Excellent, good. Mati, let's have a look at your stroke then. So in terms of the numbers here, I think you actually clocked pretty much the fastest, or one of the fastest times here within the group. 122 per 100 you're swimming at, 65 strokes per minute. A nice hand entry coming into the water. Nice bit of lift with the hand. Maybe a little bit thumb first actually, I hadn't noticed that, but maybe just a smidgen thumb first. Nice head position here. But the area that I want you to focus on, very good body position. What I really like about this, and let me just show you this, we put out a blog about kicking styles, and I was talking, Marty was I was driving in with you this morning. I was talking about the focus on the leg kick. When we put out this blog, it was met with a little bit of hostility. We talked about how some swimmers want to benefit from 6-beat kick, some swimmers want to benefit from 2-beat kick, and you know, some swimmers will always suit a 2-beat kick more than a 6-beat, some will always suit a 6-beat more than a 2-beat. Anyway, a 2-beat leg kick, first and foremost, is just a very steady leg kick. But every time the hand comes into the water, typically as the right hand comes into the water, as you see here, look, the left foot kicks down. As the left hand enters into the water, the right foot kicks down. Can everyone see that? So it's like opposite to opposite. Now, when we go back to our friend Chris, who was the where is he? He's our kicktastic guy. Sorry, kickstart guy, I should say. Let's just watch him again. Watch the movement pattern here. He's got the timing right. Just about. But his focus is on the downbeat of that leg kick. Contrast that with a truly efficient 2-beat leg kick, and this is the best 2-beat leg kick we've ever filmed. And surprise, surprise, it's from arguably one of the world's most efficient freestyle swimmers, Shelley Taylor-Smith. Check out Shelley from the side here. Let's just get rid of Chris in the middle. First and foremost, it's a much straighter leg kick action. It's a scissoring action, a vertical scissoring action up and down. She's purposefully, actively lifting the heels up towards the surface. So she's got as much emphasis, if not a little bit more so, on the upbeat of the leg kick as opposed to the downbeat. Now, when most people learn 2-beat leg kick, to try and get the coordination right, is the guy that I've shown you beforehand. And even in my description of it, I said, look, right hand's entering in as the left foot kicks down, left hand enters in as the right foot kicks down. Even then, my emphasis is on the kick down. I'm saying kick down. What Matty's doing really well here is he's actually got quite a nice little bit of a heel lift up towards the surface. Can everyone see that? Like he's lifting his heels up. That's going to help to promote and improve the body position a little bit. So it's actually, the whole thing is like a lift up. When I'm swimming, I haven't been 2-beat kicking all my life, although I do it exclusively now for marathon swimming. I used to be 6-beat. When I was learning it, I've got some old video footage of me doing it, and I was actually purely focused on the kick down. My leg is probably double the depth of my body in the water, creating as much drag as what it's doing for trying to reduce the energy expenditure. So I quite like your 2-beat kick. However, and there is a little however, let's look at it. There's always a however. Here we go. From the top, just think there's a little bit too much crossing over here. Look. And the thing is, with somebody with a 2-beat leg kick, well, look from that angle. Yeah, from that angle. If you've got somebody, let's use Sarah sat beside you. Sarah, if you cross over in front of your head, but you've got a strong 6-beat leg kick, even if you were crossing over more, you would never see that degree of scissoring. So therefore, you'd never get that degree of drag that's created with that. There's Manny now. You'd never get the same degree of drag. But because we've got the 2-beat kick, we need to be especially careful about any crossing over at the front. Otherwise, the legs, because they actually stay in that position longer than what Sarah's would do, it would create the drag there. So in terms of what you'd want to be working on to improve this, is making sure we're not crossing over in front of the head. The way we do that with simple things like the side kicking exercise, where you're thinking drawing the shoulder blades together and back. The javelin drill, so these are all drills that can access from within the app, just to try to tune that up. And of course, when one hand crosses over, the other one has to cross over a little bit more to compensate, but it's definitely your right arm that seems to cross over more than the left. That's a little bit better there, but look, still just opening up a little bit of the back. So,
and I've had problems with my head and leg.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
So it stands to reason, and that's maybe a little bit from that. going into the water. So this is something which now that I am 2-beat kicking myself, your stroke rate here is, what did I say, 65. My stroke rate when I'm racing, marathon swimming, is about 81. So again, because of the speed of that, the speed difference, my leg doesn't stay open as long, but it's still an error within my stroke, which I'm well aware that I do. So I have to really be consciously thinking about toes turned in, and I like to feel my big toes brushing against each other as they kick through. And I also like that focus on obviously kicking the heels up towards the surface. If we watch your catch from underneath the water here, look, it's a little bit pushing down there with the left arm. Let's watch the right. Textbook. Very nice indeed. Nice bend at the elbow. Could potentially, remember the golden angle is sort of 100 to 120. On this side. Little bit straighter on that side there. Just me being super pedantic, do you always swim with your watch on?
Yeah.
Because you like to collect numbers, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thought so, okay. Now, the thing with this is, personally, I hate swimming with the watch on. I just find it affects the flow of the water over my hand, and when I'm trying to work on the catch, it can be displaced a little bit. If we're saying here, look, your right arm's close to where it needs to be, your left arm's a little bit straight, you might try tomorrow just taking the watch off and just seeing if it... I got a couple of coaches to try that last week, and a lot of people, like you, probably sat here now thinking, how much of a difference will that really make? They did find it made quite a bit of difference, especially when working on improving the catch and the pull through there. So yeah, that's I would say that what you're doing is actually really quite good. But if you are, you've got that 2-beat kick going on, it's a nice rhythmical stroke, exhaling well underneath the water. But little things like crossing over in front of your head, if that causes stirring up the shoulder, then it's going to cause inconsistency in your training, which is going to mean that you're not going to reach the heights that you want to be reaching, etc., etc. So I would make that your ultimate objective. Stop the crossing over and try to keep the legs a little bit closer together. And of course, if you stop the crossover, the legs will naturally come in a little bit closer together. It'd be interesting to get you to try a slightly higher stroke rate to couple with that 2-beat leg kick.
I would like to try
Yeah,
that.
maybe that sort of nothing too bad.
I've been slower, and I've been an overglider, and I've worked on that.
Yes.
And also I've identified the system.
Yes, yeah.
And but I haven't worked enough.
That's all right, you're doing all right.
But good points.
Yeah. I think like I say, if I mentioned there that I race at 80-81 strokes per minute, I could never race at 80-81 with a 6-beat leg kick. Swingers, generally speaking, with that higher stroke rate, tend to really suit a 2-beat leg kick. But on the flip side of it, it's one of the reasons why overgliders tend to get into a little bit of trouble, because if they actually combine their 2-beat kick with that slower stroke rate, they tend to stall. That's when you get the big kickstart, as we call it. That creates additional drag and slows them down further. Interestingly enough, I made contact with Shinji, total immersion swimmer, over in Rottnest. He did the same Rottnest swim that I did last week. Unfortunately, didn't make it across there. One of the things that he was finding, he got really bad cramps in his ankles and his calves, and also got very cold and got pulled out with about 5 or 6 kilometres to go, which is a bit of a shame. He was swimming an average of 2 minutes 48 per 100. And you've seen, so you've seen on the video screens, much smoother, much more graceful than that. He was struggling to get his left arm over the top of the water because the surface of the water was so rough. The conditions were coming at you from the left-hand side, so he was struggling to get the arm clear. And I went up to him after the race and introduced myself, and I had a nice discussion, and it was all very amicable. They were all very nice. And I said, look, I'm more than happy to try and help you, give some input for how to get you across next time. He's going to come across in 2017. But one of the interesting things, when you watch him doing his 2-beat leg kick, he has very much like a toe flick, like a little bit of that kick start. And I suggested that might be a source of your cramping issue, because when the knee bends like this and you get that big whip kick, the calf contracts, the foot contracts as well, and you get that sort of release. And if you're doing that very sort of repetitively, very, very powerfully, I said it might be a source of the cramping. It might not be, it might be an electrolyte imbalance or something, but that's what we looked at. Interesting enough, he's actually switched this week from a 2-beat leg kick to a 6-beat, onto a 6-beat leg kick. His 6-beat leg kick looks beautiful, by the way. Looks really very, very nice. I've suggested, maybe make a couple more changes, but he's very much in the experiment stage at this point in time there. So with yourself, I would actually, because you've actually sort of been developing, etc., I would say you're ready to bring the rate up a little bit more, maybe 68, 70 strokes per minute. Nothing much higher than that. If I gave you Shelley Taylor Smith's stroke at 88, it'd feel awful, it'd be way too quick, but maybe something in that ballpark there. So yeah, good. All right.